Any problems with Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Rodgers, and Herbert as the tier 1 quarterbacks in the NFL?
I don't think I have a problem with it. No. I mean, I would say that Aaron Rodgers is borderline tier 2 just because of the age. And last year, some of the throws that he was making were a little suspect, even to young receivers. But when he has good receivers, he's been his entire career very, very good. But I don't know. Is he better than Justin Herbert as a pure thrower, as a pure passer right now, today, in 2023? I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Because, listen, Justin Herbert was held back a lot in the offense that he had last year. Pretty much his entire career.
So a little bit more history or a little bit more context, both Trista and Nick, with Sando's piece. He talked to voters, basically people who are all around the league, to help him do this. And I'll read directly from The Athletic. Quarterback tiers results are here, complete with commentary from the 50 NFL coaches and executives who were granted anonymity to share unvarnished evaluations. This year, the 50 league insiders who placed 30 veteran QBs into tiers include 8 GMs, 10 head coaches, 15 coordinators, 10 executives, 4 QB coaches, and 3 who are involved in coaching analytics. And then he's got his little mathematical sort of formula. The thing about Rodgers, Trista, you bring up a great point, but just listening to the quotes from everybody else, they said, and a voter with NFC North experience said, Brady goes to Tampa. He has more talent around him. He hosts the receivers at his house for throwing sessions. He has a great year. Rodgers goes to the Jets. He's got more talent around him. He's clearly more motivated. He was at the OTAs, which is something that didn't happen when he was at his former stop. He's been part of the offseason program. It's the same thing. But somebody else did bring up the age, just like Trista did. Father Time is undefeated, a voter who placed the 39-year-old Rodgers in Tier 2. Ding, 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 Ms. Crick. Brady always won by his arm and never had to use his feet. Aaron used his feet more in the past, and I think that part of his game has left him. He's accurate, but I don't think he can do it for a 17-game season. He has to have other dimensions to help him take it to that winning level every time.
That's my take. That paragraph right now could have been that you just read, Scott. Great quote, because that could have been quoted by me.
Aaron Rodgers threw for 3,600 yards last year, Trista, and didn't throw for 300 yards in a single game the entire year. Now, the receiving core is a lot more talented with the Jets. I don't think anybody's going to question that. I'm sad Ryan's not here to defend his God right now in Aaron Rodgers, but I am concerned that Aaron Rodgers may be at least seeing that level of regression that at some point happens. Now, am I going to sit here and say Aaron Rodgers is washed? I think the Jets are going to win 7 games. No, because if I'm doing that, I'm not being disingenuous. I'm not serious about it, and I'm doing it so our social team can clip it and people can yell at me on Twitter. I do plenty of other stuff for that. Are we still calling it Twitter? No, it's still Twitter. It's not X. So there you go. X. Put it on X. But, I mean, you go look at the end of the season. One, that loss to Detroit was a massive problem, and that is a glaring black eye that Aaron Rodgers has from last season. 205 yards passing, 159 against Minnesota, 238, 229. I know they were running the ball a lot more, but there's a chance that they're going to run the ball a lot with the Jets as well. So, where is Aaron Rodgers going to be in his first season with young receivers, too? I get that you brought a couple of veterans over that you're comfortable with, but in reality, he didn't want to work with the young receivers they had in Green Bay. And that's why the offense struggled at the beginning of last season. And then Christian Watson came along, and Romeo Doubs was somebody that was finally kind of found a rhythm in that offense. I think there is a little bit of it's Aaron Rodgers, and his name is included in this because of what he's done his entire career, and we think that the fresh start will make the difference. This would be my question to you, Scott, since you brought this up here too. Would Aaron Rodgers be considered the top-tier quarterback, getting these votes, getting this credit if he was still in Green Bay with that team versus where he is with the Jets in this upgraded roster now? I don't think it's the same.
Quick answer, no way in hell.
Yes.
That's it. There's also, and this is fascinating, another person. Green Bay played 4 games on turf last year, Trista.
I was just about to go there, Scott. Exactly. Yep. Go ahead.
Green Bay played 4 games on turf last year, one executive noted. Guess how many the Jets play this year? 14. Huge difference for a guy who turns 40 in December and has already had some lower leg injuries, including calf strains. Hackett's offense has that boot package, the wide stretch runs. It's a lot of pounding on a surface that's tough on an old guy's legs.
Aaron Rodgers 20-1 for the most regular season passing yards in the NFL. Like, I think that offense is going to be good, but there's no way I would touch something like that. No way.
No.
So,
I don't care how much motivation you have, honestly. I don't care how much you want to be at OTAs and how additional spark that you have, and like you go to a new team and you feel like you got something to prove. Your body doesn't lie, Ashu. It doesn't. And the turf and the new offense and the new personnel and your offensive line being your biggest weakness, which for an old running back, ask Tom Brady what happened when the offensive line disappeared. He disappeared. That's what happened. All of a sudden, he disappeared off planet Earth, and we have yet to hear from him again.
It can happen quickly. I think the Jets are going to be. I would be much more confident in the Jets if I was looking at a team that was playing in the NFC. Because the AFC is just stacked, but that team is certainly good enough. Look, I said yesterday, really, you might have the most confidence in them over any team in that division just because of the way that the Bills sort of looked a little lost at the end of last year, putting aside the DeMar Hamlin situation and also the offseason, what's going on with them right now.
Well, I guess it makes for an easier reset if you're Steve Cohen, and you've gotten rid of a whole lot of a payroll for next year, and you can just start all over again and go shopping once more. But they did get some decent prospects. We'll see. Prospects are prospects until they come up and can actually contribute. So I think the teams that went for it, the teams that made bold moves, and that would be a couple of teams that took advantage of the Mets in the Texas Rangers and Houston Astros, and getting Max Scherzer going to Texas along with Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton, 3 pitchers, 2 starters and a reliever that will bolster their team, which has been injury depleted in the pitching staff. So that was huge for them. And then the Astros again, Justin Verlander returning where he won a World Series ring. And everybody's very excited in Houston because not only do they have Verlander coming back, but they just got Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez off the injured list. So they look a lot more formidable as well.
Band is back together. Steve, were you surprised at all of the moves that the Padres made? They added G-Man Choi, Rich Hill, Garrett Cooper, Scott Barlow to a team that's been very disappointing and some people thought were going to be sellers.
Well, I think that was a bit of a surprise, but if you've watched the Padres, and I know for a fact from their front office, they see a team that is very talented, that is very good. The pitching, if you look at the advanced metrics and everything, the Padres have one of the best staffs top to bottom in pitching in the entire major leagues. The offense is still great, and it seems like a sleeping giant. What's hurt them has been the lack of production with runners in scoring position and hitting in the clutch. And that's something that does kind of go in cycles. I think the Padres just saw a little bit of an opening and said, hey, we're better than some of these other teams, the Brewers and maybe the Phillies and the Diamondbacks, and said, we can beat those guys. So let's just go in. And it seems like that's been kind of their mentality for the last few years. And they weren't going to give up now and trade away Josh Hader and Blake Snell, even though a lot of people kind of thought that they might.